Very good. And you mentioned it that you're trying to build equitable programs and ensure like DE&I is considered almost day one. Like, is that a subject matter you get pushback with again because they're trying to ship fast and they're trying to hire the best? Like, how can you impart like, the wisdom to make sure those programs are delivered day one?
Well, I think that's a great question, because at the end of the day, if the founder or the founder CEO, if that is not an important thing to them, because we basically say 80% of culture actually comes from the top. And I think we've seen that through Uber. I think Uber's a great example. Travis, definitely, one of my colleagues was one of the only people who survived working in the C-suite with Travis, and he had a cocoon of people around him telling him not to do these things, not to say these things, and the toxicity still got out. So it really comes from the top, and that's one of the biggest things I say, and I tell my founders, like, if it's not important to you, if you see this as a box checking like scenario, let's not even talk about it. Let's not make it a big, huge thing, because you don't really care. At the end of the day, if you do not have their investment, it's performative at the end of the day. So with them, the ones that actually are really interested in building like more equitable types of companies, we do a ton of work around how to build an equitable recruiting process and things like that. And how do we benchmark candidates? Are we doing this in a fair way? And a lot of it comes down, honestly, at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to talent acquisition.
Yeah. To jump in really quickly on that, you hit a really good point around just influencing founders. And we as recruiters, we've evolved so much to be more than just recruiters.
Right.
We are consultative agents.
That's right.
We are mentors. We're guides to our hiring partners and our execs that we support. And it's extremely key to go to them with sound, efficient data that it's 100% accurate. Even if I'm producing a report and it's 98%, I know this data is probably 90% accurate with X error. Still, we need to go to the business with 100% accuracy in our data that we show to our execs. And from day one, that's where we can start instilling best practices, best DEI practices.
Absolutely.
How we recruit, where we recruit,
why. Absolutely. And I would just add to that, like, I try to encourage my founders to get an ATS in, applicant tracking system, in as soon as possible. A, because you're doing your recruiters that you're going to hire maybe in a year a really good favor. But beyond that, we, I had a call earlier today with a couple of founders, and I think this is actually a great example of what we're both talking about. Is, they were telling me that they're having a really hard time hiring, and they're not getting people to finish their code tests for engineering. Most of my companies are very technical again, so it's a lot of engineering hiring, and so my question to them was, at what point do you actually have them taking this test? Because when we're in an employer's market, you can put that test up front. When employees have the power, that test cannot be right up front, or because they don't even know you yet. They've had one phone call with you, you've screened them or whatever. That's not going to make this stick. So basically the first thing I said was, like, let's look at the funnel data. This is where people are dropping off, which is people have jobs. They're not, they don't have the time to do all of these tests or whatever. So you have to just be nimble in terms of like experimentation, moving things around, etc.